What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Lost in the Wild podcast. And today is a special episode because we have our old buddy, Andrew Berger, in town.
Hello.
Yeah, and again, we have our co-host, Mitch.
It's good to be back again.
Yeah, so Mitch is with us for the Luke episode, and then we took a break from Mitch with the Andrew Hollenrake episode. And today we're here to talk about Andrew Berger, who is a really interesting guy because he was one of our best friends. Well, you still are, but you moved to Houston, and we're going to talk about that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know if you know, but like,
glad to be here on the podcast.
yeah, we're glad to have you because you were only here
gaining some traction.
Only here for like 2 days. Yeah, 14 listens, dude.
There you go.
14 listens on the first one.
Yeah, I haven't even put up the second one.
Well,
so
it's gonna get up there.
yeah, it'll be pretty famous pretty fast.
Yeah. It's a growing industry.
Yeah. My idea for this podcast is to, like, with every host we have on, with every guest, they have like just so many different experiences. They've all been really different so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have the most different experience from ours because the other two guys went to our school, but you've done a lot in the last couple of years that we could talk about. So I just want to get, like, I know you, but I want everyone to know you because you're a cool guy.
Okay. Well,
so
excited to get to meet everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wake both of you guys up from naps to be here.
I actually woke up Berger because Jordan went to my house, started knocking on my door and freaking me out. So
I woke up to Mitch yelling at me with a ball raised above my head.
yeah, and I threw a ball at him, and it's
It's all right.
Now that we're all awake,
Made it through.
do you want to talk about why you guys were both so tired?
yeah. If he wants to bring it up.
Yeah. Well, we were just at Mizzou for the weekend. We're both going there next year, so we were going down there, checking out some restaurants there, looking at dorms, meeting some guys and some fraternities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was super fun. We went with a friend of ours, Eric Gerslovich.
Yes, of course.
He was the co-host on the
UFC
Andrew Hollenrake
previous.
episode.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your trip, man?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I mean, they really tried their best to show us specifically a good time.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate that a lot.
Spent probably a lot of money in our favor.
Yeah.
Like and you could tell they're making everyone else pay, and they're like, no, you guys are good. We met some cool guys.
Dude, one day that'll be us. We'll be returning the favor for the kids that are gonna be coming in when we're older.
We met some friends with some kids that are our age that are from Memphis that are coming
cool.
up, and they're coming to school
They're
there.
nice guys.
Wait, I heard they were weird. Were those different guys?
Well, they're weird, but now that you already brought up that they're weird, now we have to stick with it. They are weird.
They're,
Okay.
they're a little weird.
You can
I
be
was just
friends.
gonna mention that we met.
I'm sorry,
that we met
guys.
them.
You'll probably never hear this, but you're a
Or
little
maybe-
weird.
When did you tell them that they're weird?
I never told them that they're weird.
Okay, well,
it'll be a mystery.
I
how
told
found
Jordan that
out.
one of them was slightly off.
I
But
was just. One of them is slightly off. The other one is actually like completely fine.
All right, cool.
they're both nice guys.
I really hope
they're
none of
both
them.
nice guys.
No, because it's gonna be very apparent which one is which.
It's one of them cheated on his girlfriend.
Okay, now we literally brought it up.
It's
okay.
fine.
He mentioned the first night, he's like, oh, my girlfriend is going to be so mad at me. I'm talking to all these girls here. And we're like, oh, yeah? Like, that's not good.
And
then the next night, Eric went to sleep, so he didn't even know this. But Berger and I were playing Fortnite in Alex's room, and he comes in with like 2-3 bags of chips. Comes in, he's like, I just lost my virginity.
Oh my
And he
god.
Come on, man.
And like, how can one night you can be concerned about what your girlfriend is thinking to, like, I literally just hooked up with a random dirty whore on the dance floor.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay.
That was a crowded
College
dance
sounds
floor.
fun.
Like
dude.
him and his friend went down to these girls' dorms and like he had sex.
He said there was like something like a 300-mile rule apparently.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his
And so
philosophy.
this
That
was
if you were
one of his-
300 miles away from
And
your
so,
girlfriend, then
I know it's
it was
like,
a non-issue.
obviously I'm not. I mean, us three aren't gonna say anything. He just met all those people in the house, and the only other person that the person they went with was Leo Fargenstein, Jack Fargenstein's little brother.
Okay.
And so it's like, no. Okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
Okay, so what I think on my notes, I kind of want to start, like, your life has been, I think you live a more interesting than average life, and like I don't know,
me
like,
sound all incredible.
well, once we go through these stories, so what I want to do is start from like when did we meet, like, and I want to go up
At
to the
Lucky
future.
Lane, didn't we?
Yeah, we went to preschool.
Yeah, when your
together.
mom was the music teacher.
You're
there.
right. We went to preschool together.
It's a good times.
Not a
You didn't
lot
go to
of
Lithuania, did you?
memories.
No, I was
Okay.
at UH.
Mm.
I don't have a lot of preschool
Loser.
memories.
That's
Do
where,
you?
that's where all the loser kids went to preschool.
Yeah, Lucky Lane is where it's
UH.
at.
Yeah.
So okay, we can move past preschool. We were good friends in elementary school, but I can't really think of a lot. Like we would sleep over at each other's houses.
Yeah. It was more so like it's sixth grade, I would say.
Yeah.
Or really when you started coming to camp.
Well, didn't you go to UH?
I did go to UH.
Yeah, so I remember Berger from UH.
Yeah.
We had some fun
I
memories.
was there when you were there.
Oh, we did Sunday school together, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Jordan was
We-
there too.
Jordan,
then
you and I
Jordan
always used
switched.
to get kicked out of classes and put in separate classrooms.
Wait, was
because-
it me and you that got in trouble for throwing? Or
Yes, it was you and I because
I
we
thought
were-
it was me and Jacob. It was you.
The thing is, we weren't like trouble making kids. We just couldn't stop laughing the entire time.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
just
and
sit
then
there, like,
and then
throwing
Berger
kids.
and Jordan would go to the bathroom to vape and stuff, and that's when it all went downhill.
Yeah,
That's a joke.
in kindergarten we were
Yep.
Yeah.
really rebellious.
It was a different time.
Before vaping was cool. No. I don't. That was a joke. So okay.
I'm sorry,
so,
Bubby.
You're right. We have the
What?
Sunday. We have the Sunday school memories. Here's the first thing on my list that is like a specific thing I wanted to bring up is that when you were in middle school, when we were in middle school, you really wanted to make money, and I would
Yeah.
call you an entrepreneur. And my specific memory, I have a lot of memories. Such
Yeah.
we could talk about
I
like
had probably the same one.
we always wanted to start a T-shirt company
Mhm.
and like make custom T-shirts and stuff. And we tried to
Yeah.
work out the profits and like how I would design them, and then we would
Mhm.
try to sell.
We did design
We
a
never-
couple of them, didn't we? We
we
never
designed-
made any, but
Do you remember the eyeglass shirt? It was like the letter I and then glasses, and it was like
I don't remember that one. But I do remember the one where you built a little pedestal and put a burger on it, and then you put like lasers and stuff all around it, and made it look like it was like a heavily guarded burger or something.
I don't remember that one at all. But that sounds. I would wear a
Yeah,
shirt.
we made a Mizzou one
What?
actually also.
I do remember the Mizzou one,
Yeah.
but I don't remember what the design was. But so yeah, we always had this dream of like owning a T-shirt company and making
Yeah.
all these hip shirts and selling them around. We never sold a
We
single
were gonna
one.
be like edgy graphic designers back in the day.
Yeah, we never made a single one though. But
Yeah.
the thing on my list specifically is like you were so dedicated to making money that you would go around at lunch and you wouldn't eat, but you would take your saxophone and you would just play solos for people
We all remember that.
Yeah.
for like a couple
And-
dollars until you got shut down.
Yeah. Like what stuff would you play? You'd play Careless Whisper. You'd
Part of that-
play Sexy Sax
I think looking back on that, a big part of it was just like in it for the joke for myself.
It was
I would
funny.
It left you a legacy.
I would love people's reactions when I'd come to their table and they would just see a little chubby blonde boy,
You know,
wailing
I mean,
on the saxophone.
fast
as they're eating
forwarding, and we're
lunch.
gonna come back. But when Berger moved, he came back to lunch one day with his saxophone.
Did I?
Did he?
Yeah,
I don't remember this. I
Or
believe
maybe-
you. I
maybe-
believe you, but I don't remember
maybe
this.
maybe it was his last day or something.
Whatever it was.
It might have been.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, Berger, it's like this is his last lunch here. You'd think he'd be like sitting with us. He's just like out there in the middle playing his saxophone for people. It was
Okay.
It was a funny
It's
memory.
another encore.
But the other entrepreneur thing that Berger did was when our Jordan and I's like middle school band was trying to play at the talent show.
Oh
and
yeah.
there was like
I
a
feel
certain
kinda bad
amount of
about this one.
there's a certain amount of talent show tickets that they would sell, and so Berger bought them out and started selling them for more.
He upsell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like,
there were
once
there
they
were
were-
like 22 tickets left.
Yeah,
for like
and so he
$5
bought them all.
each or
Yeah,
something.
instead of $1, $5 to middle schoolers.
Yeah.
So
That's genius and
Yeah.
like evil, dude.
I don't even know where that idea
and
came
there were no
from. I guess I just,
repercussions
like-
from that.
No, because I mean, like, if from the school's point of view, they're making all the money that they need to.
They
So-
made as much money they would have made
Yeah,
if
exactly.
he didn't do that.
Yeah, but
That's
what is
why
that?
you can-
What is
that's
that
why,
teaching our kids?
It's like motivating exploitation.
We're gonna get to the school board stuff later, but so.
But yeah,
that's
so that was a fun idea. Made a little bit of money. I don't actually think I ended up selling every single one of the tickets, but I sold enough to make back
profit.
Yeah,
Oh,
to make
definitely.
back what
That
I
is
bought.
correct. That's part of your legacy. You know what I was thinking about the other day?
Hmm.
Remember we made a bet on the water bottle thing?
Yeah, I do remember
Our
that.
school got these new, like where there used to be regular water fountains, they built in these water bottle fillers
Mhm.
that were supposed to like fill up your whole water bottle, and it had a little ticker on the top, a digital,
It's like a sensor, so you just like get up and put it over the sensor.
and it would
just fill it
say
up.
the idea was it gets you to bring a water bottle and refill it, rather than like buy a plastic one and throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So on the top it said like amount of plastic bottles saved, and it had a ticker that would go up every time you use it.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, Berger and I were like probably both thinking we were like geniuses and
Yeah,
we could like
of course.
totally like analyze and figure out the exact number.
It's
It
like,
would
let's
be-
bet on it.
We were like, let's make a bet by the end of the school year, what number, like an over under, that this ticker will be at. Like, will it be like 36,000? Because it started at 0 because they
Yeah.
just put them in.
Was
I-
it in middle school?
I don't remember who bet what or if we ever found out who won. I think we forgot. Probably you won.
I think that I did, but I don't want to say that now.
I mean, there's no way to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it was.
But like that's the kind of stuff we did.
we
Like,
did. We were really into that stuff. That
and
was
we
fun.
would pretty much every time we would.
We had that architecture program in one of our classes in 6th grade where we had to like study a famous architect.
Yeah, that
Do
was
you
in
remember
Gifted.
Yeah, dude, that was really fun.
Berger and I are both
Honestly,
at
that might
Gifted.
have been one of the one of my favorite school projects I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we did some cool stuff in middle school together.
Yeah.
And I mean that was an individual
Architecture was a
project.
cool place. It was really odd how it was like looking back on it. It's kind of odd how it's split up into 3 houses.
The school?
Like why it's so self-segregating like that.
What do you mean?
Like when you join in
In
6th
teams?
grade, you're either in teams or whatever. Yeah, I understand the concept, I guess, if you're like trying to split up the kids to not hire as many teachers, but like it's very odd that it's so self-segregated.
You're right.
And, you're only going to get to meet a certain amount.
And-
You're only going to get to meet a certain amount of kids, like
Like-
intimately.
I remember this might have been 6th grade, but it could have been like 8th grade. What was the year you were on? It was 6th grade. So I was on a team called 6-2. You were on 6-4. You were on 6-3, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we were all on different like groups.
Yeah.
So first
So
of all,
naturally we hated each
from
other.
well, here's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. From the day you get your schedule, I have almost no classes with anybody who's not on my team.
Right.
So that's kind of a bummer if you're not on the same team as people because you have different math teachers, science teachers, whatever. That is kind of interesting.
Well, I think part of the purpose of why they do that is so that it's not so like overwhelming that they're having classes with people all across their grade.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I have like these like 4 people in these same classes,
Yeah.
like that are like right next to each other in the day. So you're more inclined to make friends with them, and that's what happened. I made friends with a bunch of people
True.
on 6-4 that were like I just had like 3 classes with in a row.
Yeah.
It may not be like the
That worked for me too, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it was like way harder to like see you guys because
True.
while I kept seeing my 6-2 people like Sam and Hollenrake, like you guys, I would not see throughout the day except at lunch.
I don't think the program was necessarily named towards
Yeah.
or like done for like people like us. There's more people that like
Yeah.
have harder time making friends.
There were very few of our friend group's friends in 6-3 with me. Very few Jewish people, actually, that I remember. Not that I didn't like the kids.
I
just
think
like,
I remember that.
you faced anti-Semitism at a young age. No, I don't know.
Not at Parkway Central
Nah,
They
Middle
knew you
School.
could handle
the
it, so they put you on
35%
6-3.
Jewish school.
Well, anyway, where I was going with that is like each team's like department heads had the power to decide the plans and stuff. So like there was a field trip where some of us went and saw an educational National Geographic movie, Chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And 6-4 went to the City Museum, right?
Correct.
No, that's
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
they.
I remember
So-
kind of 6-4 being like the house to be in.
Yeah, it
if
was
I
like,
can
but you
remember.
had no choice, and they just consistently were doing cooler stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys were like watching.
That's a big deal to
educational
middle
movie.
schoolers, if you're like
Yeah, it's
like
like
left
we
out of
had to
something like
watch.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's just straight up unfair, and they didn't even
Yeah.
like attempt to correct it.
Well, I mean, you guys got to watch like a movie and sit down and watch
Chimpanzee
Chimpanzee.
is my favorite movie and has always been.
Well,
but
What about I'm talking about Hugo?
I'm just kidding. Chimpanzee was fine, but
What is Chimpanzee?
Hugo is what is Chimpanzee?
Yeah.
We saw it on a field trip.
You did?
Berger, you obviously don't.
You were
You
there.
were talking about the field
It
trip.
was
God.
through science. We went to a theater. It
I
was
don't think
just-
I've ever thought of that
it was
again
Morgan
until
Freeman.
right now.
Yeah, and he's like, notice the chimpanzee as he moves
happened
towards
in
his
that?
prey.
We were all in the movie theater, right?
That was a
And, like-
terrible Morgan Freeman impression.
And
Yeah.
nobody could sit still or listen to the movie.
Well, yeah, because it was like a joke that they made us go watch this movie about chimpanzees while our friends were climbing around at the City Museum.
Yeah, I was having a great time climbing around. That's where I was trying to get to. I had a
But-
great time.
Dude, shout out to Caden Dugan for my 6-3 experiences.
But Mitch, since you went to the City
What,
Museum,
did he bully you?
No, he was one of my older friends.
Oh, you guys were friends. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
well, now
He's
that
changed.
Really?
was-
Would you be listening to
I was
this?
gonna make a
What's
joke.
up, Caden?
Now it's too far.
What is
how's
it?
hockey
Well,
going, buddy?
since I was quoting the movie, and
Well,
I
we're
was
just gonna cut this
I
out.
was like, notice how the chimpanzee stalks its prey, and then you said, "Oh, I had fun at the City Museum," and I was gonna say, "But do you know how the chimpanzee stalks its prey?" Because like we would know that because we saw the movie, but
Now it's sorry.
Like, you missed out on
far
that.
away from on that.
But then the whole you shouted out Caden. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, so that was middle school in a nutshell. Making money, a lot of big
middle school's
ideas,
super fun.
deep. I was gonna say every time we would like sleep at each other's houses, we would stay up. But looking back on it, it's probably like until midnight.
Yeah.
That's staying up.
Yeah,
and
we
would
thought it was
Yeah,
forever.
we would. Dude, I
And we
remember
would just have
that being
deep
really fun.
talks.
That's why I always liked hanging out with y'all's friend group more than my own when we were like in the later years of elementary school. Is because y'all were just super creative. Like I'd like to come over and we'd stay up late, and everything was a thing. We'd start playing Assassin's Creed at 9:00, and we'd say, "Oh my God, by the time 3 weeks from now, we're gonna be amazing, and we're gonna have completed that." Or we'd start some movie, and everything was like a big undertaking. It was very fun and creative, which. We like to play a lot of sports and video games at Highcroft, but I don't know. I always found it more interesting what y'all were doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we do find ourselves doing a lot of creative stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Guess I'm
sitting here
excited
with
for
a bunch
Mizzou
of
next year.
microphones and doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So like,
That's my contribution.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm excited for next year. That's what I'm talking
I mean,
about this week, and hopefully next week, next year we can really make some stuff.
creating is such a fun thing to do. It's because, I mean, sometimes people want to like actually hear this stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Even if it's
13
only 14
people.
people,
Yeah,
yeah.
14.
And even if
I'm gonna take a guess and say both of my grandmas will listen to now. So
You think?
shout out to Bubby and to Grana.
There you go.
well,
Yeah.
we already talked about some kid losing his virginity at Mizzou and like
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
My grandparents will like that. I could tell you a funny story about my grandparents really quick.
Yep.
So they were on a cruise by themselves, and those game shows where they bring up a couple
Yeah.
and they ask them questions about each other, and see who knows who the
like
best.
the newlywed game.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it was. So they had a newlywed game, and they purposefully chose 3 couples of various ages. So there was a newlywed couple on their honeymoon cruise. There was another
course.
couple that was like 35, maybe 40, and there's my grandparents, who are a little bit older than that. And so they got the DVD off the tape after the cruise, of the game show that was like live recorded of them on stage, and they showed it to us. And there were a bunch of promiscuous questions that my grandparents were answering, like such as, if you could describe your sex life with 2 movies, what would it be? So they chose Superman and Fast and Furious. And they agreed. And when we watched this, we were all sitting together with my sister, who's in 5th grade, on a couch.
Yeah.
So
That's really funny.
Yeah,
that is a little
I
scarring.
think they'll be okay to some rougher content.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I've been on a couple cruises, and they usually do that game one night, and they always just pick really funny people. Like,
Yeah,
there's
they're
no way to
always
know
funny.
ahead of time.
The hosts
But
know how to
some of the elderly guys, like the way they talk
Yeah.
about, like it's really funny.
Yeah, they know how to pick the people.
and the hosts know how to
They've
evoke some
got-
funny
They've
funny
gotten really
responses.
good at picking the people over a long time, you know.
And usually the elderly couple steals the show on that because you wouldn't expect them to be so crude.
Excuse me if I'm a little bit stuffy. I've been up late the past couple nights.
It's okay, yeah,
Excuse
of course,
you?
of course.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
you as well, if you.
we
Yeah.
we
It's
can
my fault.
we can spend as much or as little time on this as you want to,
Mhm.
but you found out you were moving away, right?
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
get dramatic, like
I
this
know,
is
it's
where
fine.
the sad piano
Mhm.
music comes in. But do you remember when your dad told you?
Yeah, I do remember. It was I guess I remember generally. I came home from something, and he had just gotten home from every year his company does a business trip. My bad. His company is headquartered in Houston, and so they will always have their big convention of the year in Houston. So we'd always used to fly down. And I knew there were talks of maybe moving before, maybe going to Chicago. But he was supposed to really find out at this convention. That's what my mom told me. So when he came back, he was sitting in our little hearth room, and I walk inside from something, and I say hi to him, and I ask him almost immediately, are we moving? And I could kind of tell he was didn't really want to just be yes, we are moving. But he was yeah, probably. And I was pretty upset that night, and whatever. I was in 6th grade. Everything is blown out of proportion in your head. It's a life-ending thing. But yeah, so then he told me that night, and we were probably there for another, I don't know, 4 months before we moved, including going to camp and my bar mitzvah.
So you moved over the summer between 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah, so I went to camp, and my parents basically did all this stuff while we were at camp, which was just super nice of them because obviously they did a lot of the work for us, and we didn't have to sit there packing up our own house.
Yeah.
When we were so young. So I guess I appreciate that they did that. So yeah, and then when we came back from camp, we were in St. Louis for like 5 days, which included my bar mitzvah. And then we moved like right after, like 2, 3, 4 days after or something. So that was pretty tough, but it was okay. It's an exciting experience. I think that moving to another place is hard, but it makes you grow as a person.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you were a good person to go through that experience, because you obviously found the silver lining in it. And I don't know, we got the chance to, you always would tell us, like, because we would talk on the phone a lot. I remember one time I was at Walmart and you called me and I like stepped outside the Walmart and you were like really sad, but that was like right at the beginning.
There are times, you're gonna go through times when you're young and you move and it really sucks, but you get past it.
Yeah, so you would always tell us like, man, it's different here. Like nobody, I'll just use a podcast as an example. Like nobody here would ever just be like, come over, let's record a podcast. Cause like, and you would tell me you were frustrated that because you got so used to being surrounded by like.
Well, I was so surrounded by people that I considered really creative and fun, and just had more of like a nonchalant attitude about life. And when I got there, I went to a private Jewish school, so
Wiener.
Yeah, Emory Wiener. So and like nothing specifically against the school. Like a bunch of my great friends still go there. Just like wasn't the place for me. I ended up moving away from there. But when I first got there, I feel like people were just very concerned about who they were friends with. I don't know. It was a very like tight social environment.
Cliquey atmosphere.
Yeah, and like I came in and I made friends pretty quickly. Well, first like my mom, knew a bunch of other moms through tennis and whatever, and like the kids there were pretty nice, and there were a couple of kids that were super nice to me off the bat, and I kind of grew into a couple different friend groups and whatever. So it was fine, but it was just you always felt like you're like putting on a performance for someone else. It just like wasn't my thing.
Do you have a lot of friends that you met immediately when you got there that you're still friends with?
Yeah, actually. The first guy I just met when I got there, Sam Kaminsky, is still one of my really good friends. We just like a lot of common interests. He's a really nice guy, so that's been fun. He might actually end up in St. Louis next year at WashU.
Really?
Interesting.
That's cool.
I don't know. He's going a couple of different places, but I don't know what's on his list. So
that's good.
That could be cool.
So like, yeah, you used to say like there's no such thing as a friend group here. This is more like recent, when I think once you got to high school.
In Houston?
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, generally I feel, I mean, it depends on obviously which circles you're running, but I think the way the social scene works there is it's much more like sparsed out. Like, you have like almost like a smaller friend group of like 1 or 2 kids, and you guys kind of drift around, or you just hodgepodge it together. I don't know. I like being friends with a lot of different types of people. Just like you do different types of things with different types of people, and so I think it's fun to kind of bring people from a bunch of different places. I happen to have a decently good house to host, so one of my like favorite things to do is invite over, a couple people from my school, a couple people from Emory, a couple people that I met through tennis or music or something, and just kind of throw them in the same room, have a good time, see what happens.
And some of them, it might be the first time that they've met.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's kind of where I was going, because Mitch and I got a chance to kind of see what you were talking about. But so we went to Houston and kind of got to live your Houston life with you for the first time.
What'd y'all think?
Years after you moved there, like the first time we visited you was like years after you've been there.
Yeah.
Was it this summer?
It was. Yeah, it was last summer.
Yeah.
And
July 4th. Yeah.
We'll talk about the trip in a second.
Yeah,
we were there for the 4th of July. But I did something I just thought was like crazy, was that you were like, I'm just gonna invite all my friends over and we're all gonna hang out with you. So we got there and like I was shaking hands with some of your friends, and then they were turning to each other and shaking hands and introducing themselves.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, okay, wait, they don't know each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got to see it in action. That's like you are just friends with a bunch of people. And, but they were all cool. They made a good group.
Yeah, well, it's fun because I mean, like, you can have a bunch of friends, but different friends like doing different things. So I can have like a good friend that loves going to see movies with me and hanging out and talking about music or whatever, but they're never gonna go get a pickup game of basketball going, or
so you have other friends
drive to Galveston, or it's not like you have just friends for certain reasons, but just people are into different stuff. So it's fun to kind of have a array of different people that you're close with.
Was there any like hobby or like thing that you started doing in Houston that your friend showed you that you didn't do here? Like, did you get into like climbing or? Like,
I got more competitive with tennis when I originally got there.
Yeah.
Because Sam Krinsky played tennis, the kid who I met originally. So we started playing. I kind of had like a peak and a drop off. I continuously started playing more for a couple of years until I was playing like 6 times a week, and then just became. And I was captain of the team at my school, and then it just fell off. Like I was just playing way too much, and I burned out.
Gotcha.
So yeah, maybe I started doing a little bit more music, but I don't think that was directly because I moved there. I started listening to a lot of music. I don't know. Nothing I can like specifically think of, but you know, it's fun when I moved down there.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, Mitch, did you have fun when we went to Houston?
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of my fondest memories of Houston was going on the 4th of July.
Well,
and
wait.
I liked how this story starts because we were sitting at a restaurant and we were discussing our plans for 4th of July.
Yeah.
And we brought up like, and Berger's like, I don't know. Someone was like, he's like, oh, like maybe someone will have a barbecue that we can go to, or like all of Berger's friends around the table were saying that they were leaving to go somewhere. Was it Galveston or maybe somewhere?
Some
party.
like house.
Yeah,
I assumed they would say they were going to some party, but
okay, when they were going to some party, and then Berger was just casually like,
well, wait. All day throughout the 4th of July, we were like, "Are you sure like nothing's going on?" And you were like, the best option is we go to like this picnic with my parents and my
that's
little
definitely
brother.
not what I said, but like,
huh?
I said like the best. I mean, there were a couple parties we could have gone to.
Yeah, you didn't say the best.
I just figured
it looks like we should just do this.
Yeah, because I figured like, you know, if y'all were just in for a weekend, we wouldn't want to go to just some party like you didn't know anybody for, you know.
So then you very very casually brought up the fact that it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and there was this like free like music festival downtown.
Yeah.
And so we kind of looked at that and we're
yes.
like, why wasn't that the first option the entire time?
And we're like, who's playing? And you're like, oh, like Hunter Hayes, like DNCE.
It's like, those are some big names that for free I would like to see.
And like,
on 4th of July, I would love to see.
I already knew like
fun.
DNCE was a cool band, and like I like Joe Jonas and stuff, and I like, you know, everybody likes Cake by the Ocean. Some people hate it, but and so we just listened to the rest of their album, and we were like,
and it was great.
This is sick. And
It
we're
is a
like,
pretty
you
good
said this
album.
is free, and we're like, yeah. She's like, okay, we're gonna go.
So
It's such a fun album. They're a fun band.
So that's when we started to get really excited for this thing, and we knew right off the bat that we wanted to get like front row.
Right.
Yeah,
Because we had
of
nothing else
course.
to do that day.
Yeah. So that was the plan.
So it was us three and Amanda, and we all lit up in the morning. We had an Uber, was it?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was
we
the first
did-
Uber I
yeah.
had ever been in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. And he went. Didn't he go the wrong way and try to make us
Yeah,
pay more
like
money?
the drop off zones were weird, and so he was like trying to squeeze a little bit out of us.
And so yeah, we got in this line, this huge line, because the doors weren't open yet. We were just gonna get in and just run straight to this stage and stay there all day.
And we
until
did run.
DNCE.
Yeah, and so
we legitimately ran. No, we were the only ones running.
yeah, and so we saw the what was it? The Air Force band.
Oh, yeah.
They start like
They
with some
started with
random
the Air
acts.
Force band.
Mhm.
Then
I think it was like a group of people that are in the military that wanted to be part of a.
No, there is an Air Force band.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so pretty sure that's what it was.
Then is that where we saw?
Or was it the
Nathaniel
Coast
Ratliff, or was
Guard?
that Lou Fest?
No, Nathaniel.
They were wearing gray
Nathaniel
uniforms.
Ratliff was at Lou Fest.
They were wearing like gray uniforms with like medals on their lapel or something.
Yeah, I think it was Coast Guard actually. But regardless, it was. I mean, they played some classical music. They played some John Williams. Like, I mean, when you have a band like that, how can you not play John Williams?
Yeah.
In like at a music festival.
And that's the part of the day was really getting hot out.
Oh yeah, and it was hot.
Yeah, like
4th of July in Houston.
That was like 2-3 o'clock, so we were.
And we sat there through the whole Coast Guard performance, and then Hunter Hayes, which was surprisingly good.
Yeah, I mean, country music,
pretty good.
pop country.
And then all of a sudden, like the sun is starting to set, and like this new stage is set up, and Star Wars music starts playing. Remember, and people come out.
Oh my god.
People come out in stormtrooper costumes and put down these two big flags.
Well, stormtrooper costumes, but like, wasn't it just their heads?
It was just the heads.
First, like these two like crew members came out in stormtrooper costumes or something,
Yeah.
and waved the flags around.
Yeah.
And
Said
everything
DNCE.
about this concert experience
Yeah.
was
So-
like over the top. Like
So
their dresses, like or like what they were wearing.
Yeah.
It was just coming to the end of the night, and the sun was setting. It had been so hot, so like the sun is just over the horizon. We're finally like cooling off a little bit. All of a sudden, it's like a and like these purple lights all like go on
Yeah.
everywhere, and we're like, oh
Star
my god,
Wars
it's gonna
music.
start, and the Star Wars music starts blaring. Then the crew members just run on stage and with these
Wave
like
these-
huge
yeah.
DNCE flags, and they come out and start fighting with like toy lightsabers.
The
And I'm like,
band fights
I thought
with-
this guy was a Jonas brother. I thought he was gonna come out, like try to be way cooler than he's acting right now. And it was such a
He
fun
pulls it off
concert to be through
naturally.
because he was.
Oh yeah.
They were just fun.
Yeah, my personal favorite was the bass player Cole
Yeah.
Whittle.
Oh my, he was amazing. He
He
wears like 10 watches.
It really reminded me of like this man was directly influenced by Flea.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
He has abs tattooed on his abs.
Yeah.
And he may
He
have
does
real
Taekwondo and
abs.
stuff,
I
though.
really don't know.
Huh?
He does like Taekwondo and stuff though too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he's a character.
He is a
He's
character.
interesting. Joe was really cool. I mean all of them, their whole thing is just they're all cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And
the,
so
the
it
girl
ended
the
up,
girl was
Not
cool
to keep
too.
repeating the
She
word
has some
cool,
spunk.
but it was cool.
Was
yeah.
it?
So it ended up we did get like second row. Some people beat us there, but they were Hunter
Yeah.
Hayes fans. But
We
they stayed.
pushed up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was totally worth it. And like
What pisses me off are the people that bring lawn chairs and put them in the second row.
They realized very
Like,
quickly
come on,
that
if
that
you're
was
gonna
not going to
If
be
you're gonna bring lawn
flying.
chairs and picnic blankets and stuff, like set it a little farther back. It's not
Well,
your spot.
they realized very quickly when Hunter Hayes started, like right when
That they
Hunter
were
Hayes
not gonna
started,
be able to like.
that they're not going to be able to see anything if they're sitting down, and they're taking up so much space when they're sitting down that they don't. I don't think these people have ever been to a real concert before.
That is gonna suck though when we're adults though, and like when we just want to take our kids to the
Oh,
Yeah.
you can sit in
to the
chairs
Fourth of July
on the hill.
Yeah, I know.
On the hill, there were a lot of seats,
Yeah,
but it's like in the third row. In
Yeah.
the third row of like this big concert venue, you want to like, you
Yeah,
wanna, like sit and
sit
eat
down.
your potato
It was-
salad. Like no, it's a concert.
yeah. Speaking of concerts, I mean anything else to say about the Houston trip before I switch gears?
I don't know. I just thought it was really.
glad I came down. We had some good food.
Oh, the food there was great.
Jack's.
That is going to
definitely.
be. Those are two big things I'm going to have to adjust to next year: is food and the weather.
I mean, Columbia, there's a lot of good food.
Yeah,
You had pie pizza or pizza tree.
yeah.
Pizza tree.
Look, unpopular opinion, Pizza True is okay.
I think it's really good.
Yeah,
I haven't tried
the
it.
food was generally good though. We had some good burgers, and we said I'd try Ernie's next time I go up there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I mean, if I end up in Chicago, which is pretty likely as of now, I can visit you guys like a lot.
I'd be
Oh,
very
yeah.
excited. Also
Yeah.
for us to come visit you,
True.
especially because your mom told me that you might get like the apartments for Columbia are downtown.
They are. Yeah, I'll be living in downtown Chicago, and
That's pretty awesome.
they have like pool
like-
tables and stuff. Like
Don't
they're really-
underestimate. Like you would have
I'm
a
not.
really great time there.
It has nothing to do with the area of Chicago or the school. It's just
Yeah.
like the opportunities around.
Yeah,
it
of course,
are
of course.
Way less active in like what I want to end up eventually be doing.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong about that. Like I don't know as much.
You
about it.
make do. I mean, Chicago's
Yeah.
a big city. I mean, even if just not avenues that you have to pursue through the school. If you're in
Mhm.
downtown Chicago, I'm sure there are a bunch of opportunities unrelated to the school.
That's true. And
Mm-hmm.
they do have like a 15-week like semester in LA or something like that.
Oh, really?
Like
That's cool.
junior year or something.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I don't know if you know, is there like a film industry at all that's present in Chicago? Is that
Yeah. It's like it's one of the top like 5 cities. Like,
Oh, really? Okay.
They
Makes
film,
sense.
they
It's a huge
film,
city, but
film a lot of stuff there.
yeah.
But I think it's mostly like, I don't know. I feel like it's like headquarters there, like just company.
Yeah,
Like,
gotcha.
I don't know. I don't think there's as many like productions happening.
Mhm.
But like I know they film Batman down there and
Yeah.
stuff. But whatever.
Chicago's where I want to live when I'm older after college.
It will be cool. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I'll get really attached to Chicago and stay there.
Who knows? Maybe we'll be
so-
neighbors.
Yeah, that'd be
Mhm.
fun, dude. I
Mhm.
mean, we maybe right out of college, we have always kind of talked about living
Doing
together.
like roommates and yeah.
Me, you, Jacob, Mitch, Eric. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we can make it work. Get a house or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fun for a while until we
That'll be
start
fun.
getting married.
Yeah, until we
Yeah.
grow up and have real lives. Like,
Till that falls apart after a year.
That'll be the podcast in a few years. Yeah.
That's interesting. So here's what I was gonna say. Speaking of concerts, we went on this trip called Masada together, and we can definitely talk
Yep.
about Masada.
yeah. If you want.
But I was just gonna say we went to Colorado for 2 weeks on this trip,
Mhm.
and we went to this venue called Red Rocks. Red
Are we gonna rehash this argument
Yeah,
here?
we're
It's not an
definitely gonna
argument. I'm just
yeah.
gonna ask you again. Did you actually play the drums at
I
Red
played
Rocks?
the drums at Red Rocks.
Okay, I'll believe
I
you.
mean, like, I can defend my point further, but I mean, I feel like we've been through this so many times.
This
the
isn't
thing-
an accusatory tone. I just want to talk about.
I know it's
story.
not accusatory, but
The real thing
We
of
haven't
it
been able to
is
move.
that
We have not been able to move
from
past
our
this
perspective,
in 4.5
we were
years.
all standing in the seats of like Red Rocks where people are like exercising.
Red Rocks is a very famous venue in Denver.
It was a really cool venue.
While this band, who is apparently like one of the biggest stoner bands right now,
Slightly stupid.
Stupid
Actually,
with
some
like
pretty cool stuff.
STOOPID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were sound checking on stage, and we were like kind of watching them. And
They
the
toured with
entire
Dirty Heads.
time,
They toured with Dirty Heads.
did they?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Dirty Heads.
The entire time, Berger was standing up as far as he could go forward, yelling, "Let me play your drums!"
Yeah, or
"Let me
like, I
your-"
play drums too.
Listen,
Yeah.
we were there for 4 hours. I figured I needed to do something
So
productive
long.
with my day.
Yeah, well, and we were like eating, and he was just like in between like bites of his sandwich, like, "Let me play your drums."
Yeah.
And so, and that's why it's so unbelievable, because right after all of us left,
We all were
they
like,
decided to stay for like longer.
Yeah.
While we went inside like to the museum.
Gotta be persistent.
so
you know?
everybody goes into this like museum, and they after like 4 hours of pestering, like, let me play you a drum set. They come. I mean, you can finish telling it.
It's like, it just seems like after waiting outside for so long and them being denied for so long, like the few minutes that they stayed behind is when they got to go out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can come play the drums."
Well, they did.
Okay.
So yeah, how did that, since none of us were there, say like
So-
when did they acknowledge you and say like, fine, come back, come over here.
To be honest, I don't remember the specific time after y'all left. They ushered us down.
That's fine.
But I do remember that like we were calling, and then basically they like talked for like a while, or I don't even know if they're talking about us. But the drummer, like motioned with his drumsticks for us to come to the side of the stage. So we're like, okay, we're probably not playing the drum set, but maybe we'll like get to talk to him or whatever. So we kind of like go down the side alley, and we walk down to the side of the stage, and there were stairs on the left side. Of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we like walk downstairs, and then he starts talking to us, and he lets us up, and we play for like 4 seconds maybe. We like, we start to do something like, okay, that's enough, it's done. Like, and then so we played a little bit. We said hi. He seemed pretty high, so like I don't know if he was really able to interact with us very well. And
Was that the real drummer, or like a drum tech?
I don't know.
Probably could have been a drum tech. I'm sure the guys
Maybe
in
it
Slightly
was-
Stupid have better things to do than to sound check at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
This could be either one, because it sounded like they had finished the mic check when we played. What that was really cool is when I sat down and you hit that kick drum, you really feel the thud that it brings throughout the
You
stadium.
played a mic drum set for an empty Red Rocks, which is like
Yeah,
a huge
that's
venue.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sound checked that. I mean,
That's what I tried to tell my parents when I came home. So I was like, Mom, like you don't understand. Like I sat down.
and
I played.
unfortunately,
They're like, oh,
it
that's
came
cool.
off to us
I'm
that
like,
it's like it was really really hard to believe, and so
yeah, that was really fun. We just had a fun experience. Came back to tell all of our friends
no
that we
one-
played drums at Red Rocks, and to come back to a
and
skeptical audience.
unfortunately, no one was believing them. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Well, okay. I mean, I believe you. Yeah. Congratulations
Thank you.
again.
I mean, thank you.
Yeah. I mean that is cool. It's like I'm trying to think of an example. It's like Candace in Phineas and Ferb.
I understand where you guys are coming
Yeah.
from. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, the disbelief is wildly out of,
Every time Candace gets her mom to say like, "Come look what the boys are doing,"
Yeah.
they clean it up.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's all gone. Or if they covered up somehow.
But that's cool. Yeah.
Are you guys more like Phineas or Ferb?
I'm probably more like
I'm
Phineas
a
because
Phineas, I
I
think.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not British.
Just
I don't
covering-
agree. There.
My face is slightly pointed as opposed to completely straight.
Yeah.
The
Do you
guy.
guys ever do segments during a podcast?
What do you
Like,
mean?
all right, we're gonna play like.
We want to
this
start doing
now, or
that. We
this
can
or
actually
whatever,
do that because I think we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
I'm just gonna put it out there. The guy who plays Ferb is in Game of Thrones. That's it.
Really?
Sorry, say
Yep.
one more time.
The guy who plays Ferb is in Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, how much does he
Which is
play
like-
Ferb?
They had him in for one day in the studio, and they just had him say.
Almost like series of lines.
It's like, well, if you're just gonna have him say that many lines, why get that big budget of it? Big budget guy,
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I think he was Ferb first. I actually don't know the timing of that, but I didn't. I just recognized, like, I guess at one point I looked up who's the voice of Ferb, and I saw his headshot. and
Voice
then
actors don't get enough credit.
That's true. I mean,
Dan Hartman, like,
Dan
Dan
Harmon
Harmon
is
or whatever.
just
Who's the guy that does
Justin Roiland.
Justin Roiland?
I think
Yeah.
people really respect Justin Roiland.
I think people
Yeah.
that watch the show respect Justin Roiland. I'm just saying if you just
They're not like, this guy can act. Like,
there's a difference between being there's a different stigma between being a voice actor and a real actor. As there should be a different stigma, but like it's not the stigma for being a voice actor isn't acclaimed
there's not
enough
a
as it should be.
They're really
Yeah.
different. I mean,
They are really different.
so
I mean, a lot of acting is the visual, like your body language.
Mhm.
Like, you could tell the difference between a good actor and a bad actor in a silent play.
Yeah.
and I think what makes
yeah.
what makes their voices like really pop out, all of the characters, is a really well done animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
when
that's
you
But I don't know.
think about Rick and
Shows
Morty.
shows like
And that's
Archer,
what-
I feel like have developed like really solid characters, but the animation is just terrible.
Is
Well,
Archer bad, or is it supposed to look like that?
It's supposed to look like that, but it's
Maybe
like
I don't.
but a lot
Whatever.
of
It
people
doesn't
find
change it from being bad animation, whether it's
a
intentional.
lot
or
of
not.
a lot of people find the humor in that type of animation.
Yeah,
But,
I think
is-
there's definitely some humor in that type of animation.
Actually don't really know. I haven't seen an episode of Archer,
Mm.
but do you think bad animation is like just relative to you, like you don't like it, or is it like unskilled?
I think it's unskilled.
Weird. I've never seen.
I don't know. I just think that's
It's
how
not.
they
It's
decided
not
to make
so bad that like obstructs with your ability to like understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But just sometimes like there'll be a facial expression that just like doesn't fit right because
Well-
they can't animate it or something.
No, I
and-
think that they I mean, they're really similar creators to the people that made Bob's Burgers, correct?
I've never watched
mean,
Bob's Burgers.
H. John Benjamin, like he's the voice of Archer and
Okay.
Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
I'm kind of just assuming that
Is
they're
Bob
the same.
like an egotistical asshole?
No, he's just like a regular guy that owns
Okay.
like a burger place.
Because that's what Archer is. And
I know,
he
it's a
plays the part really well.
It's a different character, but I'm just saying that like the animation on Bob's Burgers is completely different, and if you would look at that and be like, oh, like I think this was a choice for them to do that type of animation for Archer,
Yeah.
because they are very capable of like doing a good graphic.
Yeah, I'm watching scenes right now, and like, I think it looks fine. I think
Yeah.
it's a style that
It's
they
a style.
developed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm not saying that it's like non-intentional. I'm just saying that doesn't stop the fact from looking like
But I would.
it doesn't look like the top of a lion cartoon. You're not watching this and thinking like, oh my god.
I don't know.
Cartoon
I like it.
Network
I'm
really
watching a
put there.
video of like Archer. Like,
Compulsing. Dude, we should not watch this. I've not seen this yet.
Sorry, bro.
what are you out of order? I thought you were just bashing on how bad the animation was.
Well, I mean, I've seen the show. Like, I'm
Oh.
on season 5 or 6 or something.
Well,
Yeah, it is a funny show. If you haven't seen
let's.
it.
If I ever want to complain about something,
Yeah.
I just think, could I do it better? And I couldn't animate better than that.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily a fair standard. Like, it's not like music critics can play music.
This is.
Or is that what you're saying? Is like music critics shouldn't.
Well,
Well,
I'm
music
just
critics, and they might not necessarily be able to create music, but they know like what they could have done to make that thing better,
100%.
and like just like structure wise at least. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much Jordan knows about like how animation works,
Yeah.
like the high up, like how they do it, like for the big
Mm-hmm.
primetime shows. So I just really don't know.
Well, like that's the equivalent of saying like you shouldn't, if you're an Olympic ski jumper, you shouldn't listen to your coach because your coach couldn't jump how far you're jumping. But no, like
But-
he might know.
no, they
how,
do. I
He
think
might
a
know
lot
how.
of times they did.
Okay, well, I'm
jump.
saying okay, so take a basketball coach who didn't play basketball just because he's not as good of a basketball player as you doesn't mean that he won't be able to properly coach you to make you a
But
better
it-
basketball
I
player.
think you look
think-
at most basketball coaches do play basketball.
But not all of them do. I'm saying the ones that don't, that doesn't make their coaching in basketball invalid. It just, are they a good coach or not?
well, I mean,
Yeah. All I'm saying is like, I think they are animating that show just as they want to, and I think they think it's good. And I think like, if somebody was like, that's bad animation, they would kind of just shrug that off.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Can you say it's bad animation, but it's like it's good for the show? Like they intentionally did bad animation,
But I don't think
it
it's
makes
bad. I don't think it's like.
yeah, I don't
I
think
think
it's
that's
bad
quality
either.
animation.
I think
Okay.
the answer to your
That's
question
fine.
is
I mean,
yes.
I'm not steadfast in this
Yeah.
opinion. Like,
Well,
you know,
so
just-
that just proves that it's like subjective.
I just think
Yeah,
the answer to
sure.
your question is yes.
Mhm.
Like they can do bad animation, but this isn't the case. I think this is good animation.
Okay, that's fine.
Like I think I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of an example of bad animation that is good for a show. I mean, I can't because most shows on the air
Yeah,
are
they,
good
they
animation.
like to have
Yeah.
good animation.
oh yeah, no. Team America, World Police, the puppets.
That's not animation.
not
but
animation,
it's, like,
but
cheesy
so
on
many
purpose.
jokes
Yeah,
are
yeah.
like
That
are
they
because
can't
that they're
control.
puppets. That
Yeah.
they can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, South Park. I mean, you could talk about South
Yeah,
Park.
like
South
they
Park
just
is
hop.
Yeah.
is really really not well animated, but that's just how
they
it's
use
been.
the same. They use the same sound effects that they've used since the beginning when
well,
characters walk.
well,
and
yeah,
stuff.
of course, but like
Yeah.
the thing of it is that like South Park started so low budget that they had to do that.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't they start with, like, little
and it
paper
started,
and a
and then
stopwatch?
and it became like a cult like trend.
Yeah.
That, like that's how South Park is animated.
Mm-hmm.
And when it turned literally into a computer animation, they wanted to keep that. Because
Right.
can you imagine if it changed
Yeah.
Right.
when they got the budget to make it that
And
big animation?
so I think like, and actually this is a good example. When I animate stuff, I actually use South Park as the reference because I'm like, I don't feel like making a walking cycle. I just make them hop like
yeah.
the
Yeah.
characters do.
'Cause
And
it's easier.
That is bad animation. It works for South Park, but I think Archer's animation is just more sophisticated than that.
Oh yeah.
I've always thought, before I started watching Rick and Morty, to be honest, I always thought cartoons were kind of cheesy and kind of childish.
Mhm.
Not that necessarily the people that watched them had those traits, but just like for me. But I've really grown into enjoying a lot of cartoons.
You
Like
should
it's very fun to like see the worlds that these people come up with and
Mhm.
the different like characters, and you can get
yeah.
you can get some cartoon characters that are in some shows that people label as simple, but of like very complex characters.
Oh, and I remember my dad telling me as like, I mean, maybe an elementary school kid, middle school kid, like, Mitch, the thing you always have to remember is that you can never learn any good lesson from cartoons. And I was like,
Who told you this?
My father. He's like, cartoons don't give good messages. Like, he's like using SpongeBob as an example that like if you're like, I don't know, maybe like if you're Squidward, you're trying to just be like peaceful alone.
Yeah.
And these annoying two people just come annoy you.
Mhm.
Like, what is that trying to teach you? But there are like, I really don't think my dad is dug deep enough to see
Definitely
that.
good,
Yeah,
yeah.
because there's themes
That,
of like friendship and
He really
loneliness.
stereotyped an entire all of cartoons and said
Yeah.
there's nothing there
I
that
don't-
could
yeah.
be beneficial. And I think that there is.
I
A lot of
hate it when people do that
beneficial
with music genres.
stuff. Oh, terrible.
When they say like I can't listen to this genre. I mean it's totally fair if your opinion is like that music doesn't appeal to me, but like, I feel like you got to give everything a run. And
Don't
there's
judge
like
it.
Um,
Book by the cover.
Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties there. So during our conversation about music genres, it's just gonna cut to this. So here's one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Hmm?
You were on a presidential campaign. You worked on one. Yeah, I think we should talk about that.
A 20
I can talk a little bit,
2016
but
presidential campaign.
I can talk a little bit about this, but I'd rather skim over at this topic.
Why?
I don't know. Politics is polarizing. I don't like to talk. I tend to not like to talk politics unless I have a good grasp for the other person's political views.
Okay, that's fair. You don't have to. I mean, I just want to know about the literal
Yeah,
experience of
okay,
being on it.
so
You
I
don't even
worked-
have to say who you were on if you don't want to.
So I worked for a campaign in the 2016 election, and it was pretty fun. I think the most fun about it was getting to meet people, and you could tell that which people were super dedicated because they would be bringing cards and posters and flyers everywhere. There's some people that every day they wake up, go to work, hand out flyers while they're there, go home, put out no cards, do cold calls. Like, people get really dedicated for their politicians, like as they should be. But it was very fun seeing some of the dedication. I went to a couple debate watching parties where I set up like a booth for this candidate. And people would come through and ask me about their platform, and I'd describe some of their various views and try to vouch for their point as much as I could. But one of the things that was cool is they prepped us before we set up these booths on which people we should try to engage and which people we shouldn't, and they gave us like little tells for they're pretty simple, something like super complicated as to whether it is even possible for their mood to be changed, because you set up a booth and so often the people that will come up to the booth to talk to you are going to be people that are just want to sit down. They just want to sit down with you and yell at you and tell you you're wrong. Because it's very unlikely that somebody will just come up to your booth but then having no idea and just like have an open opinion to what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Politics is so polarizing right now that half the people that are you're gonna interact with are just gonna yell at you and tell you you're wrong. And even if you think, even if you are right or wrong, even if they were right, it's just so unproductive. Just then don't interact if you're not gonna change your mind, and I'm obviously not gonna change mine if I'm working for this campaign. Then
Yeah, can you imagine?
Don't make a thing.
You're working at a campaign and this guy starts yelling at you and he expects you to do what? Like, oh my God, I've seen the light.
Right.
Like, I quit the campaign.
Yeah. But see, I actually think that's more of a mark of like intellect or integrity than not doing that. I think if you're willing to like hear an opinion
Yeah.
that goes against what, like what you prior thought. And, even if there's a risk to, drop your old stance and pick up a new one. I think the fact that you might be willing to do that, like, honestly.
Yeah, but it's unfair for someone like that to expect you to do that.
Oh, of course. But I'm saying I have a lot of respect. Like, I don't like it when politicians flip-flop, but I have a lot of respect when a politician comes out and they say, like, they're a bunch of their supporters are accusing them or of doing something, and they're just like, listen, like, we took a bunch of different opinions. I talked to a lot of people that I work with, and the opinions change. Like, it's not what's going to be best for us. Like, I don't know. I think I have a lot of respect for that because, and it just shows your intellectual honesty. I think some people can interpret that, like, fairly as flip-flopping or you're not being resolute in your opinions or keeping campaign promises. But I think it's pretty, honest to do that. So
That's awesome.
it's one of the things I look for in a politician anyway.
How did you get involved in the first place with it? Did you email?
Yeah, I actually did. Just like going online, emailing people. I didn't know anybody that was working as part of this campaign, so I just kind of dug through the internet. It's super easy to meet people and quickly. All of the person who was like, managing me or whatever was I only knew him through Facebook. He lived in Austin. He was in charge of the Texas so the Texas branch of the campaign. Yeah. So it was really fun. Got to meet a bunch of people online. Yeah, that's not much to talk about that, but it's a pretty cool experience. Cool,
yeah. That's one of the things I was thinking about, like, that makes you an individual, or like unique, not an individual. Makes you unique.
I love talking politics from a moral side. Like, I love really like getting into like the psychology of some of the
issues.
Yeah, some people just like like I don't like to when I just talk politics, I don't like to sit there and try to like yell at people and convince them. I like to really get at like
and like see why they believe what they believe.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to like take like a higher than that stance of like people that don't like to do that. I just like, I don't know, personally that's where kind of the interest lies.
Yeah. And you want to move on?
Yeah.
That was cool, and that was interesting. I wanted to tell you about something that we've been doing that like I purposely didn't mention to you because I wanted to just get your reaction while we were recording.
Yeah.
But our friend group recently, mostly like I kind of got inspired and I was like, we should do this. And I got Sydney on board.
Sydney's really into it.
Yeah. And we started playing Dungeons and Dragons together.
Really?
Yeah. And we've only done it, we've technically done it twice, but we've only done it for real once.
Isn't that like a weekly thing? Like you have to sit down same time every week?
You don't have to.
It's not like
okay. But you pick up the game where it left off, right?
Well, yes. It depends.
So here's our first attempt. I was like, guys, we should play Dungeons and Dragons because the podcast that I like, they usually play it on the podcast.
And it's funny.
And
it's like really funny.
Like the podcasts are them playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, like here's what happened. I like a podcast by Dan Harmon, which is what inspired us to do this.
Yeah.
And on that podcast, when they run out of stuff to talk about, they're like, all right, let's continue the D&D quest. And they do a quest every time they record.
Yeah.
That is like for the podcast.
Who's your dungeon master?
Sydney.
Okay, that's gotta be fun.
Yeah. So
isn't the dungeon master the one that, holds the ropes of the game?
Yes. Yeah, so I'll explain. Hold on.
That's a develop, yeah.
So, and then it was so funny when they did it because like a lot of D&D is like you improv personalities for your characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, I use a spell, and like they roll dice and it's funny. So they made a TV show out of them playing D&D, and they animated over it.
Yeah.
And it's called Harmon Quest. And
that's pretty funny.
It's them going on this adventure. Yeah. And so I was like, it looks fun. We should try it. So we tried to learn how to actually do it, and it turns out it takes like a really, really long time. So we made up from scratch like our version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Which didn't go over so well.
You altered the rules slightly?
Yeah,
that was what
I'm going to read
was.
my character bio. Yeah, you go ahead.
Jacob was dungeon mastering that first attempt.
Okay.
And it was, you could tell like we were just basically spitballing a story around us. There were literally not any.
There were enough parameters. Yeah.
Of like health and like mana.
Is there supposed to be? I don't understand the general concept of the game.
They want it to be a numbers based game based on odds of rolling dice. Like,
gotcha. It comes with a bunch of dice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's it's like before we were doing it, it's like before we were doing it, and it was just like I'm gonna roll to see if I can kill him with this sword.
Yeah.
It's either a yes or a no. But the real game actually is that it's like I'm gonna use my sword. It's like okay, it was successful, but now you can only, but it only had like 3 damage.
Yeah.
It's like okay, so
So on the first night that we tried it,
that's cool.
we got a couple people together and we all made character sheets. So like I made up this character, Baylor the Spirit Walker.
Nice.
And like I wrote,
Solid.
raised in the woods by a tribe of wolves, Baylor always liked to explore the wilderness. One day he came across a stone that glowed bright blue. He picked it up and instantly felt waves of magic course through his body, because I just combined like wolves and wizards, two things I think are cool. From then on, he carried the stone with him in a locket that had magical powers. The stone gave him access not only to the physical plane, but to the spirit one as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so then I made
I like
up...
that plane.
Yeah, the spirit plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made up 3 abilities. So summoning magic, which is like your regular spells.
Yeah.
Mental manipulation, which is like magic hypnotism. And then communication with spirits. So like if people die, I can reach in and talk to them when no one else can. And
That's
then
cool.
we made up...
It's like your dream self. Like
No,
if you were born in a fantasy land, would you
Yeah,
want this
yeah.
this character to be you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then, like, the cool thing was everybody makes these abilities, and then they all have probabilities. So we had 2 6-sided die, and so my way of doing it was to cast. If I say I want to cast a spell, if Jacob rolls a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 11, it's successful.
But
But-
other numbers, yeah.
If he rolls a 7 or a 10 or a 12, it fails. And then we rolled again to see how much damage it does.
Yeah.
So this was our made up version, but the reason it didn't work very well is because it would. I don't know.
It worked well. It's just that it was just a different way to do it, and
Yeah.
the way that, like, when you like real D&D is played, it's a lot easier to play that way.
Yeah.
When you make up your own games, like, you don't really
And-
think about a lot of stuff like that.
So is there a board?
Well, so the dungeon master usually has stuff planned out. Like he knows the land, he knows the enemies, and he knows the quest that you're trying to go on.
Yeah.
But like our problem was we just had nothing. So like Jacob was just making it up. He's like he did write it out ahead of time. I remember now, but it was like just not really that thought out. Because
Yeah.
if we wanted to go, if we were like we choose to go to the river,
Yeah.
that was not in his story. And
Especially because it would be like we just came from a cave and went to the river, and then right next to the river is like a mountain, and then it's like, well, where are we now? It's like it was really hard to keep track, and
Yeah.
And
so
like-
the second time,
the other thing is, sorry, just real quick. Everybody wrote their own weaknesses too. So I made it very clear. Without his blue stone, Baylor has no magic. All he has is the speed, rage, and agility of the wolves he was raised by. And so I was like, okay, well, Jacob can work with that because he had a copy of all of our sheets. I was like,
Yeah.
he can make somebody take my stone. And we were trying to make it so, like, everybody gets a chance to be the hero when
Yeah.
other people's weaknesses are being faced. But, like, that never came up. They
Yeah.
never took my stone.
well, the thing that he did bring up is that my character.
How does
Don't even
how does the
remember-
dungeon master interact with the game? Like how does
We'll,
tells
we'll-
what he says
we'll tell you
exactly
about the
what's
second time we played, which is when we did it for real.
Okay.
So my character, don't even remember the name of it. Did you have it in that doc right there?
It was
Can I
Baylor,
be-
Axon, and Xander.
Xander.
Like
My
if
name
I had
is
a character, it'd
my
be-
name is Xander the Crafter.
Ooh.
What
And
would you be?
Dan, the janitor.
Baylor.
My
the Spirit.
Xander the
Yeah.
Crafter was I don't remember a lot about his abilities, but his backstory was where I really took pride.
Yeah.
He had a hard past with his blacksmith father,
Yeah.
and to this day, if anyone tries to throw him anything, he can't catch it because he never had a catch with his dad.
And that actually did come up in the story.
And it
like,
did come
4
up because like the thing,
The
Andrew,
wolf man tosses.
Andrew Manis did something not very smart. Used the fact that he knew that I couldn't catch anything because of my tough history.
Yeah.
And Andrew threw me one of the most important items in the game that would literally like shatter if it like
That asshole.
if it went in the lava, which is like we were in a cave
Yeah.
or like a volcano, and he's like, "Hey Xander, catch," and I'm forced to not be able to catch it because that's part of my character. I can't catch. So then it was the point where it's like Jordan was like, I used like my force spells to like get it like save it from
Yes,
hitting the
yeah.
lava, and Jacob would roll be like, it was denied, and then be like, and like we all tried to save it, and it literally went into lava and it was gone.
But so anyway, the second time we were like, I was like,
Yeah.
Sydney, please save us. Like, learn it for
Sydney.
real. So we have this friend
Sydney
named Sydney.
Bojangles.
Sydney's probably gonna be in the next episode. So you guys are gonna meet Sydney. but he is just crazy, and he's really committed to anything that he is interested in.
Mhm.
So he goes out, he buys.
Beekeepers.
Yeah, he became a beekeeper for like a season, for a beekeeping season. They all died.
He
though.
doesn't do that anymore.
They all died.
They
but
all
he has the
died.
honey. I don't know.
Okay.
He goes out and he buys a Dungeons and Dragons starter kit, $20. Comes with all these dice and like a full quest called like the Lost Mines of Fandelver, and it has like all the info, like any possible. If you were like, I want to leave Fandelver, it has
Yeah.
something for that. Like, and essentially, he studied the quest, he read the book, the manual back to back, and then we all got back together, and we all picked characters that were like pre-planned with all their skills and stuff. And then we started a new quest, which was straight out of this book. So he sets the scene. He's like, long time ago in the village of Fandelver, blah, blah, blah. There's a man pushing a cart, and he hired 3 villagers to come help him get this cargo to like a different city, Neverwinter.
Yep.
Go. He's like, and that's where you are. You're helping him travel. Go. And then we're like,
Man died of hypothermia.
no. Then we're like, okay. I say to, the man, say, where are we going? And then he steps back and he says, the man says, we need to get this cargo to Neverwinter because the whatever are straight on our tail. And then we're like, okay. And then like, if it's not going anywhere, he'll interrupt and he'll be like, suddenly an arrow flies past you guys and buries itself in the wagon. You turn and you see 4 orcs.
Yeah.
Like whatever. There are different types of enemies and stuff. They're not always like stereotypical fantasy creatures. And you added in a part of your past, the Naughty Boys.
Yeah, so we all had character sheets, and there wasn't a lot of wiggle room that you could do. But I took like the overview of what my character already was, and it was a different character than Xander. And I added some stuff, and I made my character have a long past with the Phandalin Naughty Boys. Which was
Who are they?
which is a gang.
A gang.
I was in a gang called the Phandalin Naughty Boys, and that kind of came up. We didn't even finish the quest.
But so yeah, we only played one time, and essentially we played for like a couple hours, and then I asked Sydney like, how far into the quest are we? Because we didn't really make progress. We just explored the land.
We really just riffed on each other. We were like not getting anywhere. Eric did something really inappropriate with a certain dead person's head.
So and then that became
I don't even know
like,
what you're talking about, but I can assume.
So I was like, Sydney, after like 3 hours, how far are we? And he's like, you're about 1/9 of the way through the first part out of 3.
We're like, okay, like, and the thing is that after we heard that, it's like, okay, let's just do this one thing, and then we'll leave. And we were all really drowsy. It was super late at night, probably like 2-3 in the morning. We couldn't even get that one thing done. Like it took 20 minutes, and we were like, we're just quitting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We
we
quit.
were in a cave, and there was this whole like subsection where Daniel Roman, we got attacked by wolves, and instead of killing them, Daniel was like, let me tame them. And he like tamed them and named them like Llewellyn, Mary Jane, and like some weird thing, and they became like his pets.
Yeah.
And we were like, why did we take the time to do that? It had nothing to do with anything.
You can have wolves to help you with
Well,
combat
then like
situations.
the cave, Cindy made the cave flood, and he was like, we have to go back for the wolves, and we were like, that's counterproductive to the quest, dude. Like we had to choose. And
We had to save the wolf.
You're gonna let him.
That's
You're gonna let.
dumb.
You're gonna let the flood kill his wolves.
Yeah, I have this game recorded too, so maybe I'll put a snippet of that in.
So won't it be cool? In like 30 years, when instead of playing Dungeons and Dragons on a board,
We all get in VR.
yeah, you guys can all get in VR and like as you build these worlds in your head, you build them on the VR platform.
That would be really cool.
30 years, dude, when we were all living in a house in Chicago together.
Yeah, they're,
When we're
that's
Well,
pretty.
at
That's
that
pretty
point-
old. That's
at
like
that
15 years from
At
you.
that point,
like
it doesn't
10
really
years.
matter where we're living. We're gonna be
You're right.
VR
There's
together.
online.
Yeah,
We buy VR online.
But we will be together. It just happened to be that we decided to choose this fake world over our real one.
Yeah.
maybe that'd be a problem in the future.
Yeah.
Like people will get. I mean, it's already. You could argue it's a problem now, but like
Yeah.
really a problem when VR becomes so realistic that you can just lose
Well,
I
yourself. in
mean,
that
it.
was
foresee
in
it
the
being
Black
a-
Mirror.
Yeah.
USS
foresee it being-
Callister.
Yeah, a problem.
I might have not
It's
seen
also
that
in
one.
that new movie, Enter or something Player One, Ready Player
Ready
One.
Player One. I
Never saw it.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
Oh, I think I did see a trailer for that movie.
Mhm. With the
Steven
VR.
Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they live in all these trailer parks that are
Mhm.
stacked. Yeah, yeah. That looks really cool. I'll have to go see it.
So we're kind of running out of time, but I want to end on like either a good story or like I don't know. Do you have anything else for us? Should we? Oh, how about you tell the story from Big Surf?
Which story? I have a couple
Snape.
funny stories. Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait, just tell all your Big Surf stories.
What are the other big surf
Yeah,
stories?
end on that one.
There's
The
the
pickup
girls
lines
that
one?
we see every time.
Oh, okay. Tell that and then the big one.
Yeah, this was funny. This was a Berger and I story.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
all
the
you.
the girls?
The girls.
Do you want to tell the girls and I'll tell the Snape one?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay.
it's really not a story. It's just
Yeah,
the
it's
fact
just
that,
funny.
the fact that as a Jewish like camp that's based in the Lake of the Ozarks, we had one day that where we like yearly that we go down to this water
They
park
let us
called
out of
Big
ourselves
Surf.
one day a year.
Yeah, and it's like outside of Osage Beach, and it's like kind of janky, kind of like
It's a little
it's
slow.
really fun when you're a kid, but when you start getting older, it's just like okay, this place is kind of trash.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's-
fine.
that was
There's
very true.
nothing. Sorry, I hit the table. Nothing really that bad with it. But the thing is that Berger and I would make do by like riding on the rides, and when we weren't riding on the rides, like make really like we would do the same pickup line
For 3
to
years.
a bunch of girls, and just really just try and like make them laugh with it.
Yeah.
And really have no ulterior motive than
Yeah,
that.
we're just trying to meet some girls from
What
the
is the
country
line?
of Missouri.
The line is, how much does a polar bear weigh?
and enough to
And
break
the answer
ice.
is enough to break the ice.
Hi.
Hi. Metro
I'm
Brown.
Andrew Berger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you say your name, and then they're like, oh, hey, right?
Yeah.
And so it just became funny the next year that we were there.
We had girls come
It's
up
like
to us.
we went up to them and did it, and they're like, wait a second, I remember you from last year. And so these like people that live around
You
here
do nothing.
have
but
nothing
go to
better.
Big Surf.
And every day to the point where like in like the odds of them being back there was so high that
Yeah.
literally both like a year
No,
apart
and
they were there.
they were there a third time.
And then we met them again.
Yeah.
By
Yes.
doing the pickup line without.
Yeah.
The pickup line, the same girls.
They were kind of young, also. Like
Yeah.
I guess they literally just. I guess I don't. We don't need to know. We don't need to-
Well, what does that mean?
Are they young? I don't remember.
I have a footage of it. I guess you were young. Remember, I have footage of it from 1 year.
They were at least 8.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go into
Now-
Berger's other
Yeah.
Big Surf
This,
story.
this is potentially the greatest bathroom story I've ever heard.
This is the best bathroom
You guys are
story.
building this
is
up
one
way
of the
too
best.
It's
No,
funny.
this is one of the best stories that would
You can't
be
build
the
it up this
best.
much.
You know, what,
if
this
it
is
were
the
true.
best story.
Yeah, this is the best story.
The best. And it all comes down to how you tell it.
Thanks, guys.
Go. And make sure you're talking into the mic and pull it up.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try not to laugh in here, but
If you laugh, you lose.
So, 1 second. It was a day in July, maybe early July. Got a bunch of kids at Big Surf camp.
no, I would say early
At
August.
Big Surf. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like the
July.
last
Oh
week.
yeah, you are right. You're right.
Doesn't matter. Does that matter?
Early
at all?
August. It does matter.
Big Surf.
Early August. 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, we're walking around. We're having a good time. We're eating some food. Got some rides. Saying hi to Terry. Checking with Terry. Getting your meal ticket. And just giving the exposition. And then but basically,
Closer.
I go into the bathroom to use the urinal, and I'm at a water park, so I'm barefoot. And I walk in, it's kind of sticky on the floor, and I don't know how old I am. I'm like 11. And I'm like, no, this is disgusting. Like, and then so I walk in and go to one of the urinals, and I'm kind of like on my tiptoes because I'm short and fat, and trying to aim correctly. And I just kind of start slipping and falling on all the piss on the floor, and I kind of like run into the little side of the urinal, and then I just fall back and grab for anything, and I grab the guys next to me shorts.
Now describe the man. Describe the man
Well, I
that
didn't-
the
I
way
didn't-
that you described
Well,
him to us.
I didn't know what he looked like originally. The first part that I saw of him was his right ass cheek.
Because you pulled his pants down,
So I
right?
pulled his pants down. The guy grabbed him, like shooting my hand up, and then he turns around, standing straight up, and looks down at me. And this man is like the spitting image of Severus Snape from Harry Potter.
But like,
He's like,
Severus Snape, if you saw him at an Osage
at a
Beach
trashy Missouri water park.
water park.
And so he like just looks down at me and like doesn't really say anything. I'm just like this short fat kid with my penis out, like laying on the floor covered in piss, and he just kind of like looks at me and like grunts and walks away.
Okay, hold on. In the version that I heard, you pulled him on top of you.
Oh, I did not fall down.
I always believe you grabbed his pants and
And now you two are like wrestling around on the pee in the ground, and you are like.
That's what I
naked.
thought happened.
Yeah, that's what I
Damn
heard
it.
too.
No,
You better start
It's still
telling
a
it
very
like that.
funny story, but
you would have been arrested.
It would have been some
Spitting image
Can you imagine
of
if
Severus Snape goes pee wrestling 9-year-old in Missouri State Waterpark bathroom.
too soon. Too soon.
Too soon after what?
After that
Alan
guy that
Rickman.
played, Alan Rickman died.
No.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Well, that's getting cut out.
All
Okay.
right. Well, on that note.
Thank you so much, dude. that was really fun.
That is one of my favorite stories of all time.
Yeah, dude. Thank you guys for having me.
So you have to go back to Houston in a couple hours.
I do.
But we'll see you.
Got a flight at
soon.
9:30.
Do you think we'll see you before this summer, before camp?
Are you guys gonna be in Texas?
Dude, we should go to Houston one more time.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to go to Houston. It's like money wise.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming and recording this. We got to take you to the airport soon, and you got to go to dinner with your uncle.
Mhm.
But it's been fun, and
It's been fun.
yeah, dude, come in St. Louis whenever. And
Yeah,
we'll-
for sure.
We'll try
Thank
to
you guys for
plan
having me.
No problem, bro.
To anybody who's still listening, thank you.
Yeah, I always like to leave a weird message at the very end because there's a 0% chance anybody's listening by
Yeah.
this point. So say something weird.
Lego my ego.
Lego my ego.
Lego my ego.
You can interpret that any way you want.
He does have a nice ego though. I've seen it.
Yeah.
His ego is.
I saw it in a bathroom at a water park once.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to episode 3. Go listen to episode 1 and 2 if you haven't yet. Thank you, Andrew Berger. Thank you, Mitch Brodden. Hang out on the Wild Wolf Films website and tweet at Wild Wolf Films with no vowels if you have anything you want to hear us talk about on the next podcast.
Please do not include the vowels.
And
You will not find it if you put in the vowels.
You know, if you actually go to wildwolffilms.com, like .org, it's like a Save the Wolf documentary.
There you go.
Yeah, so you don't want to tweet at those guys. You want to tweet at a cool film production company in St. Louis run by
You don't
me.
think Saving the Wolves is cool?
I mean, they just don't want to hear what the audience wants to hear out of our podcast because it's like a miss.
We do not talk about wolves at all,
Yeah.
which is
And if
probably
you-
the main subject of their podcast.
Yeah, if you want to hear, go check out their podcast if you want to hear about wild wolves. I see the confusion though.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. No, seriously, tweet at us. Don't include the vowels. Follow Mitch Brodden on Twitter.
What is it called one more time?
Wild what?
The podcast?
Lost in the Wild.
Lost in the Wild. Gotcha.
You want to like sign us off? What you want to plug your Instagram and Twitter or anything?
I mean,
Nope.
I'm not really. I mean, you can follow me. I'm not a content creator.
It's okay. We'll follow
Just a
Mitch.
guy with an Instagram.
We're not content creators. Oh, I am, I guess. Yeah, he's in a band. Follow the Bad Haircuts on Spotify, guys.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Bad Haircuts, new EP.
Okay.
Check it out.
This is the longest outro I've ever done.
Okay.
Sydney's calling me. All right, Berger. Actually, wait, hold on. We'll have Sydney do it. Hey, Sydney. Sydney. Sid. Yep.
Sorry, it's connecting.
Okay.
What are you doing right now?
Recording a podcast. Sign us out of the podcast real quick. Say it right now.
Signing out this podcast.
Perfect. Thank you.
What was I supposed to say?
Can you say thank you for listening to Lost in the Wild?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you for listening to Lost in the Wild.
Sydney's gonna be on next episode. That's a little taste of him right now. All right, thank you guys. Peace out. Yeah, bye. Thank you for listening again. Peace.